Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got something that is really important that we want to talk about. The issue to do with group buying land in Zimbabwe. Okay, in this case I'm not just talking about you guys saying let's just put our monies together, or I'm not talking of Mikando or anything. I'm talking of buying a piece of land, makabatana, as a group, and then you subdivide that land. So this has been a trend of late, and it has been working for some people, and it has not been working also for other people. But today I'm going to try and focus mainly on the part yekuti zvanga zvichishanda kune vamwe. Okay. The main reason why I've decided to do this video is because I've seen that many people, they are struggling to buy land here in Zimbabwe, or to be specific in Harare. The main reason being how land has been priced of late. You see something like around 300 square meters in Harare going for as much as around $30,000 US, or even, okay, let me just average from around 23,000 to around even 35,000 now, depending on the location. So for some people, it's actually a lot of money that other people cannot even afford. But everyone wants land, everyone wants a place where they can just build their beautiful houses. With some of the videos that we have been doing, some people have been inspired and they want to do something for themselves. Okay. And in this case, there are people from the diaspora. Some, they are thinking of relocating back to Zimbabwe. Some, they are thinking of retiring. Same as in Harare in Zimbabwe. Of course, in as much as people, they are saying going back to the rural areas, it's now the ideal thing. But there are also some people who are still preferring to build in Harare, even when it's their retirement home. They want to build those retirement homes in Harare. Why? The main reason for doing that is because there is security, whereby you have got your title deeds. I always talk about this. When something unfortunate happens to you, or even your spouse, you know that your kids, they are safe. You get the sense. Or maybe you are married, you are a guy, you are a man, you are married. And when something also unfortunate happens to you as a man, you know that even your wife and your kids, they're also safe. In this case, we have seen a trend whereby relatives, when a spouse dies, they take everything, or even when a couple dies, they take advantage of that and they take everything from the kids. So we don't want that, and we are always trying to avoid that. Yes, building in the rural is good because it's affordable. You can have your dream houses there, but when it comes to the issue of security, it's not secure, because that land belongs to the state. And it can never belong to an individual. That this I'll always repeat and repeat over and over again. Okay, so back to my story. I think I mentioned a few days ago whereby there are some individuals who approached me and said, Tari, if maybe you can announce on your platform that if there are people who are willing, who are like-minded, whereby we can just look for land together, buy that property together, and then subdivide. This is the kind of group buying land that I'm talking about. This has been done in other places. Talk of Hogat Hills in Borodale there. This is something that is being done. Okay, and for your own information, guys, I'm going to try and bring someone who is an expert in this field, who is going to come and explain this in detail, so that maybe you might be able to understand. So what has been happening, if you check the property market in Zimbabwe, you can see that places that you can find north of Samora, those places, they are now very expensive. That when trying to buy that land as an individual, it's almost difficult. It's almost impossible. So most of the people who are building that side, guys, if I'm to be honest with you, they are buying that land as groups. Okay, yes, there are some bingers in Zimbabwe who can afford those amounts because it's actually nothing to them. But for the majority, it's something that is crazy, if I'm to be honest. So what you just need to do, like I said, there are people who approached me, and I was fortunate enough to have a lengthy conversation with them. And what I loved about what they were planning is that when some individuals shown that they were interested in this, they thought of creating a platform where they communicate what they want to do, the time frames when they want this and this to be done. And as we speak, everything is in pipeline. So I just want to applaud them for that, because they have thought of something that many people, they are afraid of doing. This is why I've decided to do this video, because I've seen that it's something that other people might actually consider, and it might also work for them. So like I said, property on the property market of Zimbabwe, you can find that land in places like Shawasha Hughes, in places like the Grange, Sora Village, in places like Yelensville, in places like Umwinsdale, Creston Bank, and all those big places, all those big and affluent neighborhoods that we can talk of. Their properties, their land, there is land that is being sold. But for 1,000 square meters as we speak, or even for 2,000 square meters around those places, it's not even ranging below, let's say, $100,000. And if you can check, you can totally agree with me on this. So when you decide to start this group buying land in Zimbabwe, what you need to do is to make sure that the land that you are going to consider is more than 5,000 square meters, okay? So you can't subdivide land that is less than 5,000 square meters. And also, so for this fact, it's because muchada kuzosiya room for my roads, kana mada kuita like a gated community, or maybe for my driveway, because Zimbabwe zisingafana zonyanyo batana, or maybe anyhow that you think of doing. So in this case, you also need a conveyor. Uyachizoona kuti zvakamira sei, achizokudza kuti moita so. So this is something that is really important. And also make sure kuti land yamuri kutora, it has got title deeds. Okay, that so that parent deed yamenge muinaro is the one that is going to help you to do subdivision. And also there are also some taxes that you pay, kana mauda kuzoitirwa all that process, but it's something that you can work with, and it will also be affordable as compared to buying that land as an individual. So recently I've been looking at some properties and the prices around those properties. So there's someone akanditumira a property that was going for around $100,000. That is 2,000 square meters. And in the same area, there was also another land that was going for around $240,000. And it was around 14,000 square meters. So you can see that the difference is the 2,000 square meters that was going for 100,000. It's very, very expensive as compared to the 14,000 square meters that was going for 240,000. So in this case, maybe you have decided that we want to be around 7, then you can subdivide that land, and also of course leaving that room for roads and all the other things that might need to be done, and all that. So you can find that land you might even buy it at around 35,000 thereabouts. So it will be very, very, very affordable. So like I said, as long as the land has got title deed, then you're good to go. Avoid land that has got no paperwork. And the other thing, remember, you are organizing this as a group, and and all that. So you have to protect yourselves from this, because umwe munhu anogona kuti mawirirana then kuda mari dzacho ozotadza kubhadhara, kuda dzamafana kubhadhara and all that. So you have to know that you have got a team that is actually representing you. Maybe you can just look for a lawyer anokwanisa kukubatsirai with all this. Even pamuri kutanga kutondoona land yenyu, there should be a lawyer achafanira kuapprovirai just the same way yatinongotenga nawe mastands. Make sure kuti everything, every stage yamuri kufamba nayo, it's approved and everything is according to zvamenge mawirirana. And if we are to be honest guys, in places that I mentioned, vana Winsdale, vana Helensville, vana Kristen Bank, vana Shawasha Hughes, all those places, kunotori nema places, kune mari properties akawanda, mastands akawanda. Ekuti people who bought those tents back then, they are no longer able to afford kuvaka in those places. Remember, there are some videos that I did back then showcasing some properties in those neighborhoods, and people were complaining, saying that these houses are skupera. It's because vamwe vanenge vakatenga ma properties aya, but then mari yekuzoti munhu achizovaka yakushaika. That's the main reason why buying land that is very affordable is key when buying land in Zimbabwe. Why? Because hauzosara usina mari yekuzovaka imba yaunenge uchida, kana kuti hauzosare uchizovaka imba inozotadza kupera nekuti watenga stand yanyanyo kukudhurira. And in most cases ma places aya, if we are to be honest, ma places ikutoti anenge achitokupa pressure ikutoti unotofanira kutovakawo something that is meaningful. And so maybe you have actually considered this group buying of land in Zimbabwe. What you have to make sure is kuti parikutanga vamwe ivao uripo parikutangiwa ipapo. When say people vakatota create a group kana kuti akutanga kuita, so make sure kuti you are part and parcel of that, so as to avoid kuti kuda unogona kuzoudzwa kana kuti mafigures asiwo kana unogona kuzojutwa in any way, I don't know. But kana maungana, make sure kuti everything is transparent, muri kufambirana pamwe chete, muri kunzwisisana, and zvinokubatsira iwewo kuti pasava anything chaunenge usinganzwisisi kuti zvokufamba sei. When you are buying this land handitya ye group buying, maybe you are a group and maybe you have identified a place yamuri kutoti ndo yamuri kuda, and in most cases vanhu vandandichinzwa vari kuzviita, they gather handitya and vese vachizoti tiri kuda maareas akati, and like I said, this is now more popular north of Harare. So maungana mauziva kuti tiri kuda this land, what you can now do is kuti makuchitsvaga land yamakuchida yacho, kuti tiri kuda here kupomona, tiri kuda here muBhorodho, tiri kuda here kuMwinzi, tiri kuda here kukonzuchi, tiri kuda here kuMazowe, wherever kwamaona kuti kunokuitirai handiti. And when you have done this, takudzoka futi panyaya yetitle, kuti title is very important. Ukaona the seller of that property yamazo identify yamati muri kuda, yamaona pa market, mukaona and mukatoti toda kundoviwa, mukazonzwa munhu akuti haina title deed handitya, in most cases makufana kuchizotyawo kuti zvakamira sei. And in most cases, if it's a private property, inotofana kunge ichitori ne a title deed. Mukaona isina, please mubva matiza nechi neupenyu, because ausikuziva kuti uri kuzvipinza pachi. Maybe if it's government or council land, you have to ask for a valid offer letter or agreement of sale inenge iri between the government or council nemunhu wacho ari kukutengeserai that land. In that way, you avoid zvinhu zvakawanda zvakaita sekujutiwa or anything handitya. So mazoita zvese izvi zvinopa makuchifambira nyaya dzemasubdivision letter, makuchizofambira kuti each and every individual achinge aine title deed rake, because remember kuti land iyi muri kuitenga makabatana handitya, yava pamuri mese. So apa muchazozviona kuti memakuzozviita sei, it's either muchazvisa pa1 kuti isusu land yedu kuda makutoita kana kuti like company, kufoma a company of some sort, mototi ndimi ikambani ningi yatenga. And remember, like I said, kuti izvi zvinofana kuitwa paine ma-lawyers anotokumiririrai handitya, so as to avoid kuti mujutane mubirane. One thing that I can tell you for sure, guys, is that group buying land in Zimbabwe is now the in thing, and you don't have to be afraid of anything, because ukada kutya at times unogona kutozochembera usina kana pako panonzi pako, uchingoziza uchingoti mana ndichambounganidza $100,000, of which it might take forever. So these are some of the things that you might consider, because mukabatana motenga land yenyu, and if you check, this is what is happening. Kwese kwawaenda uri kutongoona kuti vanhu vari kutongo pachakutochigated community. So if it's in a community, it's in gated communities, and it's what you can now do is kuti matenga that private property yakakura zvamuri kuda. What you can now do is you can maybe munobva matoita like a gated community yenyu imimi mega, because remember matotenga land yenyu kai. So you can do a gated community, makutotsvaga vanhu venyu vesecurity vanenge vachitokuona monitor 24/7, makutoisa any security systems of your choice, because it's now a place of your choice. So like I said, kuti there's a group rakatotanga vakatobatanawo, and what I'm loving is kuti zvinhu zvavo izvezvi vari kutozvifambisa nemaproper channels. They are asking relevant people vari kuvagaida on how to go about it. So even if iwo ukadawo, not kutanza, I'm saying kuti tanga navo kana kuti you might even do this with vanhu vako vaunoziva. It doesn't have to be with total strangers. It doesn't have to be even nehama dzako. It doesn't have to be like that. It has to be with people vane muono vamuri kufunga zvakafanana at a time. Because ukatorana just because maybe you want land or maybe you are desperate for buying land, then wakungotora every Tom, Dick and Joe. At times zvinogona kuzokunetsai in terms of kuti alright takuti tapa stage yekuti mari dzacho ngadzichibuda, then vanhu havachade kubudisa mari. Then now it becomes a challenge. But in this case, now that we said you have to involve my lawyers, maybe or in that case you will be covered, because you understand. But always try and look for people who are like-minded. One thing that I have to emphasize to you guys is kuti uyauzi mukando wekuti muri kuunganidza mari before matombowana land yacho. No, hausi mukando. Izvi ndezvekuti first muri kutanga maona land, kana muchitori nevanhu vanototuma kundoviewa that land, munokwanisa kutotuma the likes of inini. Let's say muri team diaspora, muri kure hamusikwanisa kuona land yacho yada muri kuda, makutuma vanhu vamuri kuda vari paground vanokwanisa kundoona the land, how it looks like, kuti zvakamira sei. Or even if you want, you can deal with registered real estate agents, then makundoonerwa land yenyu moona kuti yakamira sei at a few, of course. Then kana zviri zvinhu zvamaona kuti aiwa, this is exactly what we want, then makuchifambisa nyaya dzenyu nemaproper channels, just like what I said, kusvikira mazosvika pastage yekutoti iyi magutsikana makuti aiwa takufana kutenga this land, handitika. Then makutenga this land, like I said, kana pachitori nemaloya achakutorai through kuti makuchizvifambisa sei, mari dzenyu kuti dzive safe, create a bank account iri yekuti munhu wese anenge achikwanisa kuisa mari imomo, yekuti kana makuzongodai uya ndiye kutongoenda kundobhadhara lawyer wenyu, that is if kana maybe muri kure. Handiti lawyer wenyu uya mamutumira mari, manyorerana pasi, ndiye akuchizondokubhadharirai that land, okusainirai, because ndiye anenge akumira pakati penyu. So make sure kuti zvinhu zvese zvinenge zviri according to, zvinenge zvichifamba zviri in proper channels, so as to avoid kuti vamwe vanozochemachi mangwana. But of course kune vamwe vasingatombode izvozvo, guys. I'm just going to repeat this, and I'm just going to tell you this. Recently I've been in Danota. There's a stand that I was viewing on behalf of someone who is abroad, and the development there is now on another level. And if you are really interested in buying those stands, guys, this is the rightful time, as they are servicing, like I said. You might find these stands very, very affordable. And like I said, they are going for $40 per square meter. And they are ranging from around 295 square meters going upwards to around 400 square meters. Now it depends with you to rukuda size EP. And they also have terms whereby you pay deposit, that is 5,000 deposit, then balance yacho knows they paid this over 2 months, over 2 years. They pay over 2 years. Then for this deposit, you can actually pay it in 5 months. Saka unongoshiti 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000 kusvika 5 months dzako dzapera. So this is also another place that you might consider. There are also many places that are coming up, many gated communities, many beautiful communities. So kana uri munhu yanoda kuitawo zvinhu zvako wega, just do your due diligence, look for places that you think you might be interested in. Kana uchidawo kutsvagawo malawyer, as always, please do it safe, play it safe, so that mangwana hauzocheme kuti takatenga stand asi yakazoenda ndakabirwa mari yangu. Some people, they now want to buy in my communities akatodevelopa kudhara, so some they just prefer kutenga iri like imba. Especially I've seen this happening a lot in places like Hatfield, Waterfalls, because this is where you can find many old houses in these places. So people, when I stand in places, why? But what they are doing is they are buying imba yacho, then also puta waka imba yake anenge achifila. So these are some of the things that you might also consider if you're someone anotoda ma properties akatopera kudhara. And also imwewo opportunity is yekuti you can go and buy ma co-house in my ghetto, the likes of kunana Budiriro, kunana Highfields, all those places, old ghetto communities. Why? Because kuma areas aya unokwanisa kutenga a co-house iri very affordable, and my ranges actually, most of the houses kunema places it's around 300 square meters, in my 400, then my 200 to square meters. So what you can just do is you just buy neimba yacho, because kana uchitotenga co-house wakutotenga imba zvese ne stand. So umwanobva ati ndatenga co-house but handisida kuigara, then oputsa wakuvaka imba yako uchishandisa modern plans ariko mazuva. So this is what other people are doing, and it's very affordable. Because for a co-house at around 30,000, 40,000 up to 50,000 US dollars, you can find something that is really meaningful. So, and the main reason why vanhu vachida ikoko, it's because there is guarantee madzimba dzacho zhinji dzine ma-title deeds, unlike these new coming communities. Vamwe havadi that process yekuti unotenga stand isati yava necompliance, wozomira kuti compliance yozoita, then wozomira kuti makuchizonzi ma-title deeds and all that. Some people, they don't want all that process, so you just see what works best for you. And then I just wanted to clear something, guys. Recently, I also did a video urandaka posta manje rekunyatsime, and many people that were interested in the stands ikoko. And one thing that I have to make clear, guys, my stands are, like I said, and my nyasha magawanzo wachiti, she bought that stand for $500 US. And well, as an individual, is it something because honestly $500 US, you can't expect to have my title deeds stand yayo, because ndakatoona vamwe vachibvunza kuti ane mapepa here, ane ma-title deeds here, anenge asina in most cases. But some, they are just buying those places, they are just buying those stands just because they want a place to stay, because vamwe vanenge vasitorina pekutangira, vamwe vanenge vasina. And I'm sure you had mine nyasha's story kuti pamba pakatoshata vanga vasina pekutangira. So this was actually an opportunity for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and invite someone who is well versed in this issue, group buying, and who is also going to explain to you guys further, so that you might also be helped. Because sure kutenga land uri one in Zimbabwe izvezvi kwakudhura, kuri kudhura, and I know there are people who might find this interesting, who might actually want to consider buying land as a group, kuti zviaitirewo nyore, zvinobva zvava affordable, zvinobva zvachipa. So yeah, I'm going to invite someone vanonyatsonzwisisa, vanonyatsoziva kuti zvinombonyatsoitirwei. So I think what you just need to do is just wait for the next coming episodes, and definitely pama episodes ipapo pachange paine this issue, tichiwana munhu anonyatsorine information anobva atibatsira ma-pros and cons ashona ekutenga land as a group. But with the basic information that I have, this is what I managed to help you with. This is what I managed to share with you guys, so that even kana uri kuremerwa wakufunga kuti buying land in Zimbabwe is very difficult, it's something that you might consider, and it's something that might work for you. Up until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching, commenting, liking, and the support that you're giving me, guys. I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart. It really means a lot to me. Up until next time, cheers.